welcome to yet another exciting episode of Ignite with Mwangala. With me, Mwangala Chakalashi Santos. Now, everybody across the world is in times where we have uncertainties, where we have lost all hope. My guest on the show is going to inspire you with his life story. He was born physically challenged, had to do 16 operations every year for 16 years. He's right here with us in the studios to share his story. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks for the invitation and being able to share a few experiences. And you know, when you don't burn your fingers, you don't learn. Only when you burn your fingers, when you play with matches and you get burnt, only then do you come to learn about life.
Exactly. I'm happy to see you.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Now, Sean, we're talking about 16 operations every year. What is the condition that you were born with?
Okay, basically what happens is in life, we all come up with different issues. Some people have BP, some people have hypertension, some people have diabetes, other people are blind, other people are deaf. For me, I was born physically challenged in relation to, I was born with a growth disease called achondroplasia. And achondroplasia is basically, it's a disease or a disease that attacks the upper arm and the femur, the thigh. So my torso, if I sit like this, my torso is of normal stature, but my bones, my thigh and my upper arms are shorter. And then again is that it creates a complication in my lumbar vertebra where my discs are slightly enlarged. This is a genetic disease, and generally it comes like in a cycle. So you might find it comes back after a third generation or fourth generation. And this, I think, goes back maybe 3 or 4 generations back. My biological father is the same as me. He's only 5 foot like myself. And his siblings, mom and dad, were all 6'6", 1.7, 1.8 meters tall. And he was only he's only 1.5. There's no guarantee to say that when the time comes when I have children, that my children will be suffer with the same complications. But being male, and my father being male, the dominant gene is very strong, so the chances are very high. If I was female, the chances would be much lower. But the key aspect is that one can't necessarily look at a disability in relation to someone's life. The key aspect is that how does one better one's life with the way they are and who they are? You know, we can all sit at home and say, cry about this and cry about that. But at the end of the day, the only person who can fix that is ourselves. As much as we cry, yes, we can get given sympathy, but nobody's going to be able to change anything unless we change our mindsets. Exactly. And being brought up by my mom and my dad, and then my parents got separated. My mom remarried my second dad. My mom and my second dad were very, very proactive people, very strong people. My mom was very proactive in sports. My second father was very proactive in sports as well. With my disability, I took up karate because I was unable to play football. I was unable to do any other social activities. So the main sports I could do was karate, swimming, and maybe 1 or 2 other areas. Obviously, being physically challenged, it was very difficult to compete against other people. Not because I couldn't compete against them, but just the mere fact that being disadvantaged in relation to being physically challenged, I was unable really to keep up with them. I'll give you an example. Right now, when we talk about stride, for every kilometer the average person walks, I cover 1.3 kilometers. So for 10 kilometers a person runs, in the number of paces I take is equivalent to 13 kilometers. So I have to push more. I have to push more. My endurance is much higher. My number of steps is much more than that of someone who's much taller or an average person. So, but the key aspect is that it's not necessarily about your disability. It's about focusing on your objectives in life. And objectives come generally from, as parents, as upbringing. And as my mom and my second father were very, very strong people, very powerful people, very strong, very business-orientated, sports-orientated. They incorporated us in their lives as children. So as siblings, each one of us had our own passion, of which our parents made their passion.
Yeah.
So
to ensure that
it achieved 100%. Yeah. So for me, I did karate. I trained in Zimbabwe, South Africa. I went to America and trained, and then I obtained second-degree black belt. I was a Zimbabwe national champion in karate. I was a Zimbabwe national junior coach, national judge, national referee. So within the karate fraternity, I accomplished the very highest. My father was the president. My second father, was the president of the Karate Federation. My mom at the time was the highest graded woman in Zimbabwe. So on that section of my life, in relation to my passion, my parents gave me that support. My brothers and my sister had their own objectives. One did horses, so she became a vet. My parents created the same objectives around them. And my other brother became an engineer. My father fixed cars and everything. He became his passion. So when we look at our youth today, as parents, as well as the youth, we look at role models.
Are you a parent?
Pardon me?
Are you a parent?
No, not yet. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So the key objective is that in life we look for role models.
Yeah.
We look at Zambia role models. We say Esther Piri, Catherine Piri, Kalusha Walia. These are just to mention a few. Why do we look at these, Christopher Katongo? Why do we look at these, and what is it about them that makes us
look up to them? Yeah.
What is it that makes us to look up to, say, the president of Zambia? What does it take for me to become, or our children to become the next president of Zambia? There has to be a vision. There has to be an objective. And as long as parents, you don't necessarily need to be rich or poor. It's the mindset and your key objectives of your basic principles. Yes, we go to church. They teach us about this. Yes, we go to school. They teach us about this. But at the end of the day, there must be discipline in your home and in your workplace. Because when there's no discipline in your home and in your workplace, there's confusion.
Exactly.
And as being brought up, I was brought up old school. So if you misbehave, shomboko. If you this and this, shomboko. I was brought up in corporal punishment lifestyle. School, you go to school, you misbehave, you get beaten, with shomboko. That's the lifestyle. And when I look back and we talk about the modern generation to say, oh no, you can't beat my kid. No, you can't do this. You not do that. It doesn't
make sense for you.
But then now, when you look at the new youth of today, and you look at the situations that are happening, and you turn around to say is that when a child can take his own mother to court, and a child can take his own father to the police for assault, and what actual discipline is being incorporated in the home and in the workplace. So, please, viewers out there, don't take what I'm talking about the wrong way, but think about how we as adults were brought up, right? And how our children are being brought up in the modern world. And because of that, it creates discipline, it creates objectives, and it creates direction. And that's how I was brought up. Exactly. Then at the end of the day, was told, this is your passion. If you do it 100%. Don't do it 20%. If this is what you want to do, do it.
100%. Now, talking about passion, what is your passion?
I think my passion is that sometimes people say I'm an attention seeker. It's not that I'm an attention seeker. It's changing people's lives.
How do you do that?
And when you change people's lives, you change many things and many objectives, because of the fact is that you give a person a sense of, first of all, being, a sense of understanding, a sense of trust, a sense of, what do you call it, frankness. There have been many times where I've said things to people and literally it's been war. But over a certain period of time, they've come back to me and said, you know what, Sean? Yes, you are right.
Yeah.
Or the situation where it's like there's been heat, it's gone its own ways. After some time, It's like, hey, Sean, what you doing? Come over, let's meet, this and this and this. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, when we were all at school, we used to play that game. You used to get a sticker and you used to write kick me or punch me, and you stick it on the back of someone's thing.
Yeah, and somebody would
and
just
then everybody,
and
now you're walking in class, everybody's beating you and everything. But then one person will come and say, hey,
you have this.
They remove it and give it to you. That's a friend.
Exactly.
A friend is when you fall down and somebody comes and picks you up. A friend is not about what you have or who you are. A friend is about knowing that person that you're with is there for you and only you. And no matter what happens, he or she will be there for you. And this is what a parent's about. A parent, even when you look at a parent, when you hear stories about children and young adults murdering people, killing people, doing things, but at the end of the day, the child, that person's mother will say, "That's my baby."
Exactly.
That's my baby. Yeah. Forget about what the person has done. That's my baby. Meaning that because of that passion and that love for that person. And this is what we need in society. But there needs to be that passion incorporated with discipline. Now, when we talk about discipline, there's two types of discipline. There's discipline in general, where corporal punishment, where you get punished, you get beaten and stuff like that. And then there's the secondly, where we use sports as a proactive way of disciplining people.
Is that what you use?
Yes, yeah. Like sports in generally, but I have a very strong, I will get there. But sport is one of the key aspects of sport is first of all coordination and secondly discipline. Because when you do sports, it now becomes the aspect of team play. Yeah. It's no longer about you, it's about we as a team. So when you're late, you let the team down. When you misbehave, the team is punished. So now you start in coming to understand that team play, right? As good as you may be, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about team play. And when we look at sport, the key aspect is when we look at the local teams, we always say, but why doesn't Zambia succeed? But the under-21 or the junior team succeed. What is the difference about it? It's because the juniors are playing as a team because they all live under one roof. When you look at the national teams or the first teams, this one is playing in Angola, this one is playing in America, this one is playing England, this one is... So at the end of the day, when they come, they're not playing as a team. They're playing as an individual. Because now they're looking for individual glory. And which doesn't help. Which doesn't work. So everything is about team play. And even when we live in a home as married people, you have to come to compromisation. Even when we have children, we have to come to compromisation and understand. But at the end of the day, there should always be discipline in what we're doing. And as people, if we're not disciplined ourselves, we'll never achieve anything in life.
Wow, that's so powerful. Now, you've talked about your parents, and I'm thinking, what if somebody does not have the support system that you had from your parents? Where do you get it from? Because I think you are what you are, because your parents must have played a very vital role.
Okay, unfortunately in today's society, there's a lot of, we go through a lot of, first of all, modern society, there's a lot of children that are outside marriage. Secondly is that there's a lot of situations where divorce and complicated issues. I came from a broken home. I was torn as a child. I was torn between two homes. But as time went by, I came to find myself, and I came to choose the right way and the wrong way. There's certain things that still reflect in my life of the way I was brought up because of being in a broken home. We can say, no, she's not my mother. No, he's not my father. So this and this and this. But at the end of the day, as much as we may be against those, we've got to look at the objectives, right? We may not like the things we have. We may not like the things we're told to do. But at the end of the day, when you're staying under one roof, you have to be disciplined. And those rules apply to that home. This is my house. These are my rules.
And you follow their rules.
You follow the rules.
So I want you to hold that thought when we come back. I want us to talk about your love life. I mean, you've talked so much about your parents. You've talked so much about rules. So when we come back, I would like us to talk about your love life.
No problem.
Yeah. So we take a short break. When we come back, we continue chatting with Sean, who now talks about his love life. Don't go away.
To advertise on this program and enjoy amazing introductory rates, please call us on +260 211 290959 or +260 211 290912 or +260 953 538 000 or send us an email at loyolazam@gmail.com.
Welcome back. If you're joining us now, I am talking to Sean, and he was just telling us how he was able to turn around. He's what many people can call a challenge. For him, he's taken pretty good advantage of it. Now, Sean, we're talking about your love life. You've talked about discipline. You've talked about teamwork. Are you married?
No. I'm partly. Well, I was what you called an eligible bachelor. But last year, October, I did get engaged.
Okay.
To a Zambian lady, Bemba lady. She's involved in the health professional world as well. She does social clinical counseling. When as men in life, we look at trying to find the right partner. But also there comes a time where we have to sit down and put our objectives and our priorities in the right order. And sometimes is that it's very easy to get married, but it's also very easy to get divorced. It's easy to have children, but what are the implications that follow? And in modern society, especially when we look at third world countries like Zambia, the younger generation get married very quickly without having any assurity and security.
Where do you belong? Sorry to cut you short. From the young generation or the older generation?
No, we just generalize.
I want to know how old you are. And I just want to find out how long.
I'm 50, yeah.
50?
50, yeah.
Why has it taken you that long?
Yeah, so we're getting along the way. So the key objective is that when I came to Zambia, I was 30 years old, coming from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
So for the first 10 years, it took me some time to find myself, some time to settle, and some time to establish my business. Along the way, there were relationships, but at the time, I personally was not settled. And as I mentioned, is that the younger generation go into marriage without having any assurity and security in life.
Yeah.
First of all, not owning their own home. Secondly, not having secure employment. Thirdly, having children without assurity and security in the home, as well as financially.
Yeah.
And being a business entrepreneur, one of my key objectives was establishing and making sure that I personally am secure. Because when I'm secure, the people I'm with are secure.
Yeah.
When I'm secure in my life, my family are secure. If I'm insecure, then my family are insecure. So it did take me a long time. And then secondly is that it's a bit of an embarrassing thing to say out there. And please, no offense to any of the viewers, but the biggest problem we have is that when we talk about criticism comes in the sense is that here's a Mzungu. He's born in Africa. He's lived in Africa all his life. Educated, yes, America, and traveled the world. But here he's dating an African woman.
Yeah.
But the first objective and the first mindset, when we talk about mindset, now it no longer goes about, oh, he's physically challenged. Wazungu watenga mahule. Right? Why is it that people, the minute they see an interracial relationship, they say, watenga mahule.
Yeah.
What is it that actually brings that mindset? And the mindset is us, as you call Mzungus, are to blame ourselves. Because we don't, first of all, understand the cultural values. Secondly, we don't understand our personal values and objectives. Thirdly, you find the older generation, my age, because they're foreigners here and they come and work here on contracts, they have their family, they have nothing, no family, no one to interact with, so they end up meeting the wrong woman.
True.
Then it says is that, but what identifies the wrong woman? In Zambia, we talk about basic ethics. Dress code, smoking, dyeing of hair, and general etiquette. And when we look at these things, as much as the Western world, when they see a woman dye her hair blue, yellow, wearing kaptula, bum shorts, smoking, for them, that's what they like. For me personally, no. Why? Because I'm a role model. I'm a person who stands in front of other people. I'm a person who other people see. I'm a person who projects the positive objectives in life. I'm the person who people turn to as a role model and say, Sean, what do I do? But now, if the person I'm with does not have the same objectives,
as you
where
do,
does it put
becomes
me?
A problem, yeah. So
because,
what do you look for in a woman? What are you looking for?
When people disrespect my wife, they disrespect me. When people call my wife a prostitute, that means, what am I?
You, yeah.
So these are values. And then when we talk about upbringing, we have to understand our values. Whether you're Tonga, Bemba, Ngoni, Lozi, whichever may be, you brought up with traditional values and certain specific values in life that you have to follow. But what happens is that when we start now interacting in different cultures or different societies, we forget about our upbringing and we start looking at the easy way out. As we sit here, you can't go and visit your Ambuya in the village in a pair of shorts. You're going to stink.
Exactly.
When you walk in, you remove your shoes, you papat. These are simple rules.
But important.
That create the identity and the future of our nations. When we start losing our identity, right? It doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or Muslim or Buddhist or whatever it is. When you start losing your identity, we start starts bringing complications. So the key objective is, especially in interracial, inter-tribe marriages, is first objective is that understand that culture, understand that tribe, understand that objective. Let that person understand your tribe and your objectives and what your principles are. Don't change that person, and that person shouldn't change you. Whether you're a Tonga and I'm a Bemba, right? But you're coming together for a simple reason.
Yeah.
When children come up, the children can be brought up in a two-tier system, where they're brought up to understand about Bemba tribe or Tonga tribe or Ngoni tribe, and they understand. They're not taught to say, they're not talk about tribalism, you know. The first president, Kaunda, said, one Zambia, one nation.
Yeah.
He would send a northerner to the southerner, and easterner to the western, western to say, he did all that. Why? Because he created unity. And these are the aspects that we have to come up with. And when our children come up, like especially me, when the time comes when my child comes, my child will be of mixed race, but my child has to understand his or her identity.
Yeah.
First of all, know who the mother is. First of all, know the Ambuya is. First of all, know where the Ambuya's village is, so that there's an identity. So with that identity comes passion and understanding, and vice versa. Because what happens in today's modern society, we're too busy as parents, and we forget about the principles of our children. And this is where it comes to sport. Where does sport play in? How does sport come into effect? When our children leave, now we start talking about role models. Now you start talking about discipline, time management. All these aspects start falling into place. And when that comes into play, even you as a parent, when you see your child showing a passion towards something, automatically your passion will change.
Of course, and support it 100%.
Like me and we're sitting here. I have my child. You have your child. I say, oh, my kid, we're friends. Oh, my daughter's going to play tennis. Come along. What happens? You come along.
Yeah.
Next thing you seeing my daughter playing tennis. Oh, let me get my son to join in. So automatically, what's happening is you're changing the mindset and the proactive, because everything has a TV and a cell phone right now. There's no proactivity.
Yeah. Now I know we don't have a lot of time. I asked you a question, which obviously you've nicely answered in what you've just explained to me. Now let's talk about what currently is happening. I know you're a businessman, and you seem to have a very strong mindset, a very strong positive mindset. So what are you doing now that a lot of people are not working out, a lot of people are not visiting the gyms?
Okay.
Any innovations?
You know, as we know, the current situation is that there's a world epidemic. And every hotel, every restaurant, every bar, every gym, and many other places, we're all closed. Not because we want to close, but because of the World Health situation with the current epidemic. And right now, there's no actual solution to say when it's happening. But the thing is that we can all sit and say, we can sit and cry and cry and cry. But at the end of the day, we can all cry, but the only person who can change that objective is ourselves.
Exactly.
So we can all run to church. The church is going to say, yes, 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 yes. But at the end of the day,
they're not providing
a church is like school, is like a leader, a president. Gives you direction and a surety. Right? The only person who can make an objective in your life is yourself.
Yeah.
So the only person, if there's no food in your house, you have to get food.
Exactly.
There's obviously two ways. One way is you don't want to get caught stealing because then you go to jail, then your whole family suffers. The key objective is to find alternative means through work. It doesn't necessarily mean that because I'm a businessman, I can't go and do piecework. No. I have to find alternative solutions so that I can put food on my plate. Because when the time comes, right now is the right time.
Yeah.
But a month down the line, 2 months down the time, it's too late.
So now is the time.
Now is the time.
I like that.
So the key objective is that we know there's a problem. We know the situation is. We're just sitting on our butts and just waiting for things to happen.
It's not going to help us.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. It's not going to help us.
We have to make things happen.
We have to make a change. There's a key situation to say, get up, dust yourself off, and move forward and find a solution.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, there's no one else
Nobody else is
going
to do it for us.
Because the problems we're having, everybody else is having.
Exactly. Sean, if you're on your deathbed and you're given a second chance to live, what would you do differently?
Nothing. The only thing that I would do on my deathbed, the two most important things in my life, when people come to my funeral, when the day comes, is first of all never to go to my mother or my family to say, Sean has in Kangole, he owes us money. Secondly is to say, Sean was a great man. In other words, a legacy. Because a legacy is your name, and your name lives forever. And when you change people's lives, you change everything forever. So nothing's worse is that when you hear people, when somebody passes away, and all of a sudden you find people coming to say,
he owes us money
and this and this and this. Oh, he was a drunkard. Oh, he was a thief. Oh, he was this. Oh, he was that. That's your family name. And when you have children, that name is what carries your children. A woman, as a woman, you can always get married. But as children, they carry your name. And therefore, whoever you are and whatever you are, your life is about your children and your children's future. And your name, you can be poor, but your name for everything you do is important.
Now, before we sat on set, you gave me, you opened with, or rather you were telling me a motivation, a sentence, a line. Would you like to close with that? Can I remind you?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay. You said, I do not need an alarm to wake up. My passion wakes me up.
Yes!
Really? So can you say that before
we go? You said it.
So can you say it for my viewers?
Okay, all you viewers out there.
And we're closing the show with that.
You don't need an alarm clock to wake you up. Your passion will wake you up. Don't lie in bed and say, oh, get up, get out, and do it. Take care.
Thank you so much for coming on Ignite, and I am certain you have ignited the country.
Thanks.
This has been Mwangala Chakalashi Santos. Join me for yet another exciting episode.